Well, welcome to the Stone Roadie podcast. It's the one you don't want to miss. It stars Craig Reed, the Stone Roadie, and Griff, the rocket scientist. Let's not forget Kathy Godsey and all the old friends that come along. Lord, we'll be talking Skynyrd and leaving you with a song.
The STONED Roadie Show, podcast number 201, Wake and Bake the Morning Buzz, episode number 80, action. Well, looky here, fellow Earthlings. It's Friday, and it's July 26th, 2024. My name's Craig Reed, a.k.a. the Stone Roadie, and this is my co-host, the rocket scientist, Griff Martin. And what are we going to talk about today there, my co-host, Griff Martin?
Well, I have to apologize for losing my internet connection on the last podcast, but it would have been too late by the time I got back on, so I just called Craig and said, go ahead and finish without me. But I did have a couple things that I wanted to say before we got off, or before I got off of there, because I wanted to talk about where Gene Odom is. Gene is on Saturday 27th. He's going to be in Hoopeston, Illinois, at 5:30 to 9. It's a 502 East Penn. I think it might be like some kind of a I don't know, might be like some military base or something. I forget what it was he said. I think there's some friends that are putting together a little event for him, but he said anybody's invited if they wanted to come. Saturday 27th, 502 East Penn Street, Hoopeston, Illinois, from 5:30 to 9, and I'm not sure exactly where it's at, but that's the address. And then the other thing I wanted to be able to do, and I didn't get to do, is thank Parsons Land Clearing and Services, 740-818-2752 in Albany, Ohio. Yeah, for cleaning out Craig's pond the other day, and I hear they did a great job, and Jesus for Survivors coordinated that whole thing, and we appreciate that.
That's your new baptismal facility.
Yeah, Griff's Grotto. And he said there were people on leaving comments, is Griff really a preacher? Well, I can be. I baptized my neighbor. Baptized him good. Yeah, so anyway, that was those things. And then we got the bong giveaway, which this is it right here. It's all been reworked, leak checked, and it's got Craig and my signature on the bottom there, ready to go. And Craig smoked out of it, and so but it was tobacco, wasn't it, Craig?
Yeah.
So we're gonna, after we get done with the comments and the questions, and there's more comments and questions on here, but when we get done with that, we already know who the winner is, and we're going to announce it, and then I'm going to be the one mailing it off. So the person's going to have to they're going to have to email me their address so I can send it to them. So appreciate all the participants that joined in and sent in your cool names for the bongs. And Sammy, he won that other bong, which Craig's got to get that to him. But yeah, and I'm working on another one. This one's a big one here. It's got a big water reservoir, so you could jam some ice all the way down in the bottom of that one, and Craig's already signed it right there. So I gotta fix it up. And Jesus for Survivors put that little book cover with Craig on it. You have that, Craig? Yeah, I thought that was funny.
I did.
Yeah, the flat Earth.
I think I can pull it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that when he sent that to me because yeah, we were cracking on him because the fact that, the flat earth thing don't jive with airline pilots. Some of them, I guess, think the earth is flat, but some of them don't. But Jesus for Survivors, even though it's kind of weird because it's in the Bible that, the firmament and the flat earth. And look that up there, Jesus for Survivors, and see if you can find any scripture on flat earth and then report back to us. I mean, I would do it, but you're probably a lot more familiar with it than me. Plus, I'm too busy, not like you aren't too busy, but I think you'd be able to find it faster than I would. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. And we're going to give the bong away. And then, Craig, you are working on mailing out some stuff for people that won, and you've already started on that. So, we can go ahead and, oh, yeah, the other thing, too, part 6 of the Gene Odom interview at the end of this podcast. So don't go anywhere. If you want to fast forward through all the jibber jabber, you can just to see the part 6. But do us a favor and like and subscribe. Yeah, a lot of comments on Gene talking about Gary, and the thing that he said is, yeah, I told Gary I was going to piss on his grave, and I'm a man of my word. So a lot of people, I don't think they like that, but I think Gary, yeah, I think Gary had and Gene, they had a love-hate relationship because he saw Gary at was Leon's funeral, I believe it was, and or Bob Burns' funeral. I forget what he said it in the interview, and I should know that, but he said they spoke and they had a good conversation there with that. So, at least Gene talked to him before he died civilly. So we can go ahead and go through these comments, Craig. Yeah, I wonder who made that.
I don't know. Yeah, that's me sitting on my road case. I'll show that little statue here. I'll get up and get it. It's right over there. But
Yeah,
I don't know who made that. Whoever made that, let us know. Yeah,
you can't zoom out though, huh?
No,
Well, I can put it up. I can put it up right here for people to see. I've got a copy of it. So, so there you go. That's
on a Skynyrd case on the flat Earth.
Yeah. Which I don't know what's going on, man. It seems like there's like a lot of anti-moon landing stuff and flat Earth stuff. Everywhere you look on social media, it's like chemtrail. It's almost just as equally brainwashing as what these libs are doing. I mean, if you're not a flat earther or a chemtrail person or a moon landing person, then you're getting some stuff shoved down your throat pretty hard.
Yeah, Big Mike's a woman, and
oh yeah. I mean, if it's true that they didn't land on the moon, then I don't know what's worse, the fact that Big Mike has a penis and was our first lady, or the moon landing. I don't know. You guys tell me, because I think the moon landing was just rude in a different way. I mean, you fooled everybody. You went through school shoving it down our throat, and we got all excited about our heroes launching in the rocket, and then that whole Apollo 13 where they were trapped in space, and that was a big lie too, probably. I mean, God Almighty, that's enough to piss
well,
you
now
off.
I'm hearing the Ivanka Trump and Princess Di are the same person. Yeah, they're showing side by sides of them, and they match up pretty good. Yeah, Ivanka Trump is
I'm gonna
really
have to go ahead and call bullshit on
is
that one,
Princess
Greg.
Di. Yeah, there's some other ones too that are pretty crazy that are supposed to be the same person. Pretty wild.
Yeah, it's like
I wouldn't put it past any of them, boy.
Like I said, I mean, I just call bullshit on that, but I mean, you never know. There could be something I used to believe that they landed on the moon until I remember I talked to Neil Armstrong, and he wouldn't look me in the eye, and I was asking him about the moon landing. I was like, man, you're my hero. You landed on the moon. And he's like, oh, I'm an old man now. And, and then he goes, what do you do? He's like trying to change the subject, and he's acting all weird and everything. And then I didn't think too much about it until I started that one director who directed the movie that, of course, all the films that they shot, admitted before he died that he was the director, and that came out. And then, I mean, I've been a skeptic on the moon landing for about probably since 2 months before Neil Armstrong died, because that's when I met him, and right around the time he died is when I started thinking it might be some bullshit.
Well, they burned him up in that thing.
That was Grissom, White, and Chaffee that they burned up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, over there on the Cape side, with that oxygen leak in the capsule, which they're saying
they were going to go public, weren't they?
Well, they said Grissom wasn't going to play along with that, moon landing thing, and he was going to sing like a canary, so they had to. But that's alleged, and that's for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, that's just entertaining. This whole thing's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, it's all for entertaining purposes.
We got a hoe running for president. That's about a joke.
Yeah, that's entertaining.
What's the difference between her and Monica Lewinsky, except for Clinton never gave Monica Lewinsky a attorney general job.
I remember there was this guy that he was getting ready to go to the Smithsonian Institute, and I told him, I said, hey man, make sure you go see that Monica Lewinsky's dress that they got. I said, they got a black light on it, and it's got the royal jelly on it and everything, man. He goes, no way. And I said, yeah, man. I said, they got it. They got her dress. And he got mad at me when he got back. He said, man, they didn't have no dress there. But I don't doubt it. I mean, it's just as collectible as anything else. But yeah, it's
hey, before we go any further, I got a couple of gifts. I've been hitting on this wake and bake mug, and yeah, that came. I got it in the mail, and that came from Richard with Rock Forever Entertainment in San Diego, California. And then TP sent me she sent me this Buchanan soap here a few months ago, and I used that all up. That sucker's huge. It's a big old bar of soap. But now she sent me a different one this time. It's Buchanan too, so I appreciate that, TP. I was gonna order me some more of that. I didn't know they made a different variety, so I'll be using that. That'll last me a couple months.
Yeah, you can take that down the pond down there and bathe in the pond.
No, that's storm water in there. It just it looks like water.
Yeah, you guys got to see Craig operating that excavator. So, I mean, I put that movie on there, and Jesus for Survivor.
I really wasn't doing any work. I'll be honest. I really wasn't doing any work with it. I just got in there and was piddling around with it, moving the bucket around. I wasn't doing any work with it. They were kind of in a hurry trying to get that done, and they went to the back of my property. I got like 60 trees back there that instead of just cutting trees down, we actually ripped them out by the roots with a bobcat, and I hauled them all to the back of my property, and we kind of put them around in a circle, and then I've been putting brush around there and got it ended up to be a big old pile. So while they were up here with that big dozer, they compacted that big pile for me. So that's where we were back there. I had the excavator back there. I had a great big tree in my front yard, the roots from it. Nobody had a piece of equipment around here big enough to move it. So that big excavator picked it right up, and we hauled it back there. Stuck everything in a big pile. So I'm gonna have me a big weenie roast here pretty soon.
Yeah, you're gonna light that big pile on fire.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, see if I can get away with it.
Yeah, when you got what you got, like 8 acres or something.
Yeah. Well, then my
That's
neighbor's got 10, and then my other neighbor's got 4, and then there's property all around me. But now there's a old folks home back there, right behind me. But there's trees back there, so it'll be harder to see. But yeah, I'm sure I'll get called on.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, you're not allowed to burn it. This is a city of green.
I think
now.
you can do it in the wintertime when it's snowing.
No, this is a city of green. You got to get a permit, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got to get a
that's right.
permit for everything. You can't do anything unless you pay to do it. Yeah, we're not free. It's
What if it accidentally caught on fire?
well, that's you can have a barbecue or something. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna but that's what happened the last time. I got called, and they showed up, and they goes, burning's fine. You can't burn. I said, we're roasting weenies. I had a bunch of cars sitting around, and we were back there with big sticks. They said, that's an awful big fire for a weenie roast. I said, we got big weenies. And they just laughed. I know most
Was
of
it
them.
a big fire though?
They know I'm a character. They just have
Yeah.
to
Oh,
report.
everybody knows who Craig is.
Yeah, they all know me, but they still have to write a report.
Well, they might have gotten a little more strict on something like that.
Oh yeah,
No telling.
I ain't too worried about it.
All right, let's run through these questions and comments, and then we'll give the pipe away, and then we'll look at the Gene Odom Part 6. And for those of you who haven't checked out this Gene Odom interview, Gene Odom's got that white brain matter. So ain't no telling. I tried to get as much out of him as I could while he's still able to remember stuff, but they said it's pretty debilitating, and he is showing signs of it. So if you go back to podcast 196, that's when it started. We started on 196 with part 1, and now we're up to part 6. And he just kind of going over all the band members and, telling a little bit about how he met them and what, how you kind of comparing them to how they were when he met them and how they ended up, when they died, basically, because they're all gone except for Artimus. And he didn't have but about 10 or 12 words to say about Artimus, which, he was nice about it. I mean, it could have been worse. I've heard Gene talk worse, but he's very matter of fact in the interview about a lot of stuff. So if you haven't seen it, some people have heard it before because he has told the same story on a lot of it. Some of it's new stuff, but I don't think Greg's even listened to it yet.
I've had computer problems.
Yeah. So, when you're part of Lynyrd Skynyrd, and the last thing you want to do is go read about Lynyrd Skynyrd.
I found some files that I need that I don't have. I use my computer for other things besides doing these Zoom meetings and stuff. And I had some taxes and stuff on there, other drives, and I kind of misplaced it. So I had to find it. Taking up a little time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I
Oh,
guess
boy.
I had a storm blow through here is what happened to me. And I think they were working on a power pole down the road, and they disconnected my power for a minute, and it booted me off. Um, so then by the time it came back on, I was done. So I couldn't come back on. So okay, let's go over these comments and question. Steve Jones had a question. I think this might have came from a couple podcasts ago because I haven't been able to go over the comments here for a couple podcasts. He says Ed King said that Gary was a very sly poker player. Do you believe that statement to be true, Craig?
Yeah, yeah, he was. Gary was a good poker player.
Yeah.
He had a poker face. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How
He
about
he
who all used
he
to?
kind of showed he kind of had a little tell when to me he did when he was bluffing. He could had a little you could kind of I could kind of tell it when he was bluffing.
Yeah,
You know.
that's just as bad. I mean, if you can see when somebody's bluffing,
Well,
that
no,
ain't
when
good.
he would, when he didn't have shit, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a different look than when you're sitting there holding something good. You're trying to bluff when you ain't got shit. I could kind of read those.
Was there a certain amount of people that played poker more than others?
Oh
Was
God,
it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Who used to play
But
poker?
Gene loved to play poker, and I like to play. And Gary was always playing, and Ronnie was always playing. Alan didn't play much. Billy played a lot. um, Artemis didn't play much. I don't know.
Same guys just about every time. Like,
Yeah, usually yeah, I always played if I could get in there. I always played. And Gene, but Gene always got mad because we were always smoking pot, and he would always get a contact, and he couldn't think real good when he was high, and he got high real fast.
oh yeah,
God damn it! He was always bitching because everybody's smoking pot and playing, and we were all smoking cigarettes and drinking, and yeah, he wasn't amused with us playing cards. Wasn't amused playing cards with us idiots.
you guys must have started playing poker just about as soon as the plane took off.
Oh yeah, as soon as you sat down, we were playing. Whoever wanted to play cards was jumping right in there at that poker table and getting a seat. Yeah.
Were you guys playing for like? Well, you lost some. No, you won some money, didn't you?
I
Before it
was winning
crashed.
like $1,700 when that plane went down.
Well, there
Yeah,
sure was a
I was
lot of.
going to just pull it over to that Shell station down there. I'll fill her up, joking around. I didn't think we were going to crash. I was like kidding around about it. I thought, if we did, we were going to land it in that pipeline. I was looking out the window at that pipeline. I go, oh, this is going to be like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. We'll just belly slide it in there. Now, how are they going to come and get us out here? And yeah, and then all of a sudden, they went to the left and tried to go toward the airport, I guess, and then we ran out of gas. I don't know what happened after
You
that.
know that there were those. There was a lot of poker chips laying around out. They're gone now, but they were finding them like all over the place. Those poker chips and pieces of the poker table, which is amazing. Compared to all the stuff that was out there, that stuff just kind of stuck out. Um, but yeah, it's kind of crazy that poker chips laying on the ground. You see, and I've seen somebody find a couple of those, and it's a weird feeling that you get knowing that you guys were last time somebody touched those poker chips. You guys were on the plane, and that's like a historical item. I mean, very historical. A poker chip off the Lynyrd Skynyrd plane. That's some crazy. That's like finding a a rifle, a Civil War rifle in a creek or something to me. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then, and then Steve Jones asks, did the tribute band play as much as the original band? Like, I guess he means on tour,
Um,
like on tour, the same amount of gigs,
um,
or maybe he's talking
no,
about.
the original band played a lot more. No, we were always on the road. That original band, we were always on the road. We weren't home but three.
Yeah,
Yeah, if we weren't on the road, we were in the studio, and we were only home for a week at the most between going, being on the road and being in the studio. We were or in rehearsal. If we went home, we were only off for 3 days,
yeah.
and they were either in the Hell House or at Riverside. So it
Touring
didn't matter
compared
if
to
you were at home. You were always at work, and you were always at rehearsal, or the studio, or on the road. It was always
yes,
something to do with the band stuff.
yeah. And you had to move them around. You had to hook them up. That was
Yeah, I mean, if people came into town, I had that Mercedes, so I was like a taxi cab service out to the airport. I was always going out there and picking people up. You know, um,
like who would it be? Like just
everybody that came into town, everybody. When those people came into town with when Gary. When Gary was writing with all those people that he was, Tom Kiefer and Travis Tritt had his tour bus that stopped by the studio down in St. Augustine when they were down there writing, and Gary had me down there running the whatever recording equipment we could come up with. We didn't have any recording equipment at that time, so I was down there just trying to put together something they could record with while they were trying to write some songs. And then when Tom Kiefer was there, I was down there, and then and every time that anybody came into town to do that, I would run out to the airport and pick them up, and then take them back to the. I went out and picked up Tom Kiefer in I believe I went out there in Alan's coupe and picked him up. Yeah, in the hot rod. Yeah,
that was at Jacksonville Airport.
Yeah, Jacksonville Airport's a long freaking ways from Jacksonville Airport out down to St. Augustine. Man, it's a hour and a half drive.
That's one airport I've never been in as a Jackson. I've been on just
Yeah,
about every.
it's all the way up to dang Georgia.
Yeah, I've never had a need to fly out of Jacksonville. It's always been either Tampa
That's
or
an
mostly
international
Orlando.
airport, Jacksonville.
Yeah, and I've never even had a layover there for any reason. But all right, moving right along. Abby Road says the last part of the video, which is talking about Gene Odom interview, is why I never want to meet my idols. You're bound to be disappointed. After what Gary said in the Uncivil War documentary about Artie, I was done with the tribute band too. So yeah, I remember that interview, that Uncivil War, and I think he was saying that Artemis was hiding in the woods or something.
That was pretty uncharacteristic of something Gary would say. That was, I don't
they
know.
were having a feud
That
at the
always
time.
struck me funny why he took that attitude. It was very strange. Yeah.
I think they were in the middle of a feud at the time over something, but you know how that is whenever you're pissed
Yeah.
off at somebody, it's like, that whole thing with John Lennon and Paul McCartney, when they were having their little feud. Bands they're like families, you get your You have
Oh
your
yeah, yeah.
arguments.
It's hard to get a bunch of guys together and live together like that and get along
Yeah.
and then get out there on when you're pissed off at somebody, it's hard to get out there and make music with them.
Well, it has all the
It's
makings
tough,
of an
man.
argument to
It's
begin with,
what?
because it has all the makings of an argument to begin with, because,
Oh yeah.
you got royalties, you got to figure out who's getting what, and that's enough to piss you
That's
off.
where the problem comes in when there's multiple guys writing.
Yeah.
And if they feel like somebody's getting a bigger cut or they're living a lot better than they are, or you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, and then like if somebody feels like that they contributed more to a song than somebody else, kind of like Gary felt like that Sweet Home Alabama should have been all his. And of course, you were there for that one, right?
Oh, I can't really, I can't really say I
Yeah.
remember that. It was just something that happened within a 5 minute period of a day. I mean, that's all it took. For Gary was sitting there playing something, and Ronnie was trying to come up with some words or thinking. I don't
That was
know. I'm
supposedly the
only
first day.
speculating, but Ed said he walked into the studio and he had that brand new Stratocaster, and he just pulled it out of a case and plugged it in and just kind of started going and Ronnie went, yeah, keep going,
Well, he had heard something Gary played,
and
according
then
to Ed. He said he heard something Gary was playing, that.
yeah, so I heard whatever Gary was playing. He just kind of started playing along with that, and Ronnie said, yeah, and he just said, come up with ding, 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 ding.
Hey, but Ed's got the lead
That's
in it.
I mean, that's very simple, just for Gary to be playing something and he come up with ding, 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 ding. It's kind of simple.
Well, I think Ed did contribute more to the song than Gary did, because he's got the lead part, and he's got that hook in there, but what do I know? All I know is that Gary.
I'm only speculating,
Yeah,
I'm
you
no
were
rocket
there.
scientist. God, people ask me questions like I'm some kind of a psychiatrist. God, I got brain damage, man. I'm 73 years old. God, you get as old as I am, you already start to lose your mind, and I've all the alcoholism and drug abuse that I did, and God, you guys think I'm some kind of a psychiatrist or
Well,
something.
you still got some good
I'm
information.
amused by I'm amused by the whole situation. Yeah, I seem to be smarter than most people on Earth these days, though, in my
Well,
opinion.
I mean, there's a lot of stupid people out there, these
It seems
liberals.
to be, yeah.
Oh my God, they've got, some serious issues too. And
Yeah.
I just
In
have to
my
say,
opinion, you're pretty right. Yeah.
it's probably, I'm not real sure about what they thought about each other during the Civil War, but, there was brother against brother and stuff like that. But with these liberals, I mean, it's a whole different category. They're just out of control. They're Satan worshipers.
I
That's what
don't
they
know.
are. They're just Satan worshipers. Anyway, let's move along. Susan McMaster, she says she's like Kathy. She doesn't want to be a contestant for the pipe. She doesn't take part in the devil lettuce. So yeah, that's why when Craig picks the winner for this one, it came from people that only sent in to the Stone Roadie at gmail.com to enter their name. So if you hadn't already done that, then, and I even put a thing on Facebook telling people that didn't know about it on Facebook to get it in by Friday evening. So If you haven't done it by now, it's too late. And then Rich Johnson says, Griff, see if you can collaborate with Craig and Gene and write a book, and you could donate a big part of it to the proceeds. Yeah. Well, that your book is this podcast. That's your book. Because
I ain't writing no dang book. That's why I'm doing this, man.
Gene's got 3 books. So
I don't think you could cover everything that I don't know. This is the 201 podcast we've did.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
I get bored with shit easy. I mean, I do. I go from one thing to another. I'm just all over the place. I get into something, I really get into it, and 6 months later, I'm totally in somewhere else, man. And I've been doing this for 2 years. When I was first doing these, I thought we were talking about doing 25 of them.
Yeah,
maybe if we ever get 10. To maybe, what were we talking about? Well, when we do 12 of them, maybe if we do 12 of them, we'll figure out what we're doing. And then I figured out I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I quit doing them for a little bit, and then you just kept doing them. So from what I remember, then I jumped back in and.
Well, you were mad at Skynyrd at the time because they were using your movies, and you were afraid you were going to say something that you didn't want to say.
Was that what it was?
That's what it was. At the time they were using your movies and they weren't paying you at the beginning of the concerts, and you were fired up, and you were like,
I don't know. All I remember was people going, I didn't know you did all that. Why don't you write? Everybody else is writing a book. Why don't you write a book? I'd have to read a book before I'd know anything about writing a book, But I said, man, and then a guy from Music Explorer magazine, matter of fact, he's still on my damn message machine. I got his number. I was gonna call him. See what the hell's going on.
Say, hey, man, I'm 200 ahead of you.
They're even doing anything. I mean, it's been a long time. But he had me get all this stuff together, and then I went and got this microphone, this camera and stuff. And I goes, hey, man, okay, I'm ready. He goes, man, I almost died. I had COVID, and then, God, I don't know what happened to them.
Well, if you think about all the stuff that we did, we've interviewed at least 5 plane crash survivors. We've had members of the tribute band on here. We've had best friends and close friends and fellow musicians of all of the band people on here, that's talked about stories that they've had experiences with them, and then all the stuff that you've talked about as far as your experiences. So, if you want to know about some Skynyrd, you just go back, start at the beginning, on the first podcast. There's plenty on there.
Funny story I heard today from Chad. His mother, people have been finding out that she was affiliated with Lynyrd Skynyrd. And she never talked about it before. None of her friends ever knew it. She never ever talked about it. Now it's out that she knew all the original Lynyrd Skynyrd, and she hung around with Judy and all the Lynyrd Skynyrd people used to, she was part of that scene. People, I guess, just can't believe it. And she called Chad and she goes, Chad, now that everybody knows, she goes, all my friends, I never talked about it. She said, now I'm around all my friends. That's all they want to talk about is Lynyrd Skynyrd. She goes,
yeah.
I never realized that they were so big. She never did.
You still need to get her back on where people can hear her better.
Yeah. But yeah, she didn't know. just recently, she's just finding out. Yeah, she's ever since I've been on the podcast, all my friends have found out about it, and everywhere I go, they go, "Oh my God, Sue! I didn't know you." Susan, she goes, "I didn't know that you hung around with the original Lynyrd Skynyrd." She said, "That's all they want to talk about." She said,
Oh,
"I am
wow.
just totally amazed that they're so big, But yeah, she had no idea. Yeah, but I guess she'll be come back. Yeah, Chad's just getting Lisa just he's just going back to work.
Yeah, she's
She's
still
still
got a
recuperating.
yeah,
She'll be down for God. She can't do anything.
at least another couple months.
Yeah, she can't lift 10 pounds for.
But I talked to her today a little bit. I mean, kind of like I talking to Chad, and then she's in the background, and
Yeah, I
she's
hear her in the
always
background laughing.
yeah,
She's,
yeah, she's doing good. She sounds like she's doing better,
yeah.
which is good. So, and a lot of
Well,
people were.
she could have died, I
Oh,
mean,
that was a
that thing would
radical
have
surgery.
broke open, so she was fit looking at possible death, So that's pretty traumatic.
Yeah, I'm just glad everything turned out all right. So, okay, let's move along. Andrea Slundell. If Gary said those things about Ronnie, which she's talking about the Gene Odom interview where he was saying that he was going F Ronnie and F Ronnie's kids and all of this stuff, because he was wanting to form the band back again. That's in the last interview, I believe, the last interview. But anyway, she says if Gary said those things about Ronnie and had those bad feelings about him, how did Johnny and Gary get along? Because Johnny idolized his brother. So in other words, if Gary was mad at Ronnie, then how did he feel about the fact that he was mad at Ronnie? He must not have known about it, right?
You know, I've thought about this that question because there were times when Gary and I would be having a serious just talk, and I'd be talking to Gary, and I would say things like, when this kind of thing happens, I kind of think about how would Ronnie react, and he didn't look like he took that response very well, but he never
Said anything bad?
No, he never said anything about it. But looking back, I can look back and I can see that he didn't really,
he wasn't enthused about the question.
well, he had to have known that Ronnie was the main cog in that thing.
Oh, well, he wrote all the music.
Yeah, there would have never been that Lynyrd Skynyrd without Ronnie. There would have never been a Lynyrd Skynyrd, but vice versa without Ronnie.
That's true.
Without Gary, there would have never been a Lynyrd Skynyrd. Without Alan, there would have never been a Lynyrd Skynyrd. Without Bob Burns, there would have never been a Lynyrd Skynyrd.
But Ronnie was the nucleus, though. He was the one that held it all together.
Yeah. But without any of them, that whole thing fused together, and it was just they only made it by the skin of their teeth. I mean, Al Cooper. It's almost like divine intervention, It's just like they were put down by like Jimmy Johnson said, who we're gonna get Jay on here pretty soon. He said, man, I went to 12 different record companies and they said no. They didn't just say no. They said hell no.
Well, they just weren't used to that
Lynyrd
music.
Skynyrd is like, some kind of phenomena. It's like they were flat out turned down from everybody, but now they're looked at like one of the founders of rock and roll or whatever they've become.
Then there's that whole thing,
coincidental.
that whole thing about that tape that they got from Muscle Shoals that was something about recorded. They were playing it backwards or something, and then
Oh, it was played. It was upside down. Yeah, it was upside
yeah. What was the
down.
deal?
Yeah.
What was the deal on that, Craig?
Well, there was no. It was like listening to it in a. It was just all high. There was nothing there. It was just. I'm not real.
And Ronnie heard it, and he's like, "This sucks."
Yeah,
You know, and then when they took it,
tape was no, it was Jimmy Johnson that somebody heard it. Yeah, somebody heard it. Tom Dowd heard it and said, "This is up." No, I don't remember. Yeah, somebody heard it and said it was upside down.
but then whenever they got it playing the right way, and Ronnie heard it, Ronnie was like, "Oh, damn! I didn't know that. You know, it was this good."
I wasn't there. I just heard the story too.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the stories they tell you down at Muscle Shoals. If you ever take the tour, they tell you that. It's a pretty good little tour in Muscle Shoals if you ever get out that way in that original studio. A lot of history and the way that studio is built on a wood floor with a basement below, and it's kind of like they relate it to almost like playing on top of an acoustic guitar with a roof on it.
A lot of this stuff happened before I was ever around. I mean.
But you were at Muscle Shoals, right?
In 1970, I started basically 1974. This band was around in 1968. I mean, this band was around for 6 years before I ever got involved, and then they only lasted another not even 4 years.
Nah, don't sell yourself short though, because you were right at the hop.
Well, I was there. I was on the launch pad when it took off.
Yeah.
After the first album, after all the shit went down that you go through trying to make it, I kind of jumped in there on the rocket ship and took off. Yeah, that's.
I mean, they had a U-Haul truck moving them around back when you were with them, man, and that trailer.
Yeah, I was.
Then it turned into.
I was at the bottom of I was washing dishes. Yeah.
Then after the plane crash, I mean, it was a well-oiled machine. That.
Oh yeah. It got.
And it still is.
It took off quick. It was quite a ride. That's for dang sure.
It still is. They got like 2 or 3 motor coaches.
But I paid a lot of dues before I saw any real assets from it.
Well, Gene says you got. He was talking about doing that workout there. He goes. I guarantee you Craig will be out there in case they accidentally dig up some of those jars. Make sure they ain't digging in the wrong place. Okay, anyway, yeah, so there's your answer to that, Andrea Slundell. TP, not to be confused with TP, says, cool, Lone Star is the official monument band, the official band for the monument. I hope to see y'all there in October. Well, Craig and I, we've already planned not to be there, only not because we don't want to be there, but it's because we think that there's going to be some civil unrest at that time. Oh, who knows? Crazy. But it's going to be something.
They're crazy. They're absolutely crazy.
But we won't go off into a tangent on that. Michelle Lovett says, great podcast and congrats on the 200th. I've watched them all. Well, thank you, Michelle, for watching all of them. And anybody who hasn't liked and subscribed, please do that, because we are kind of like the redheaded stepchild of YouTube. They take our stuff down and they don't put people's comments up, and they take our monetization away, and then
though that this is a 200. I got into some jibber jabber. Now we're talking about that. We've done, it's been over 2 years, and we've done over 201 shows, and I'm not fed up with doing them anymore. I mean, yet, like I said, I get bored with shit real quick, and I'm still amused by this thing. I don't know why. I guess it's, just the fact didn't think I could ever do one of these and pull it off, and I couldn't do it by myself. God, if it wasn't for you and Kathy Godsey pulling me through these, it's like when you bailed out the other night. I had Kathy Godsey here to, you know,
Yeah, well,
to hold my hand.
yeah, that's why I was kind of glad. I was like, oh man, well, good, Kathy's there, so I don't, have to worry about
Yeah,
it. So, and then I just kind of went in there and watched some more of the assassination attempt.
yeah. I can show up. I can show up 3 times a week, but I couldn't pull this off 3 times a
Well,
week.
we still got a lot of cool stuff coming up, like the Steve
Oh
Gaines
yeah,
thing
that's
coming up
always amusing.
in September 14th. There's that, yeah, because we had uh, Lone Star Skinner head man there, Stephen Naylor. So that was pretty good having him on, and he's going to be there with Lone Star Skinner, and that's a great band if you guys haven't seen them. So plan on coming out to Miami, Oklahoma on the 14th. They're going to be playing out. There's going to be a lot to do. We'll keep you updated on that before it happens. Cheesehead says he's heard Gene's story before on YouTube and how he smoked them in court with that piece of paper they didn't know about. But Gene is a real honest guy, and he says he likes Gene and he believes Gene. And Gene tells it like it is, and even if it's not true, Gene believes it. He really does. He's one of these guys. If he says it, he believes it. It might not be true, but he believes it's true. Not that he's telling a lie, but he might, have something not quite true by, maybe accidentally.
There's a lot of people that
You know
tell
how
you
stories
something.
grow.
There's a lot of people that tell you shit. They absolutely think that something is true that absolutely is not
I
true.
know. Yeah.
So he's no different than anybody
Like
else.
like Mr. T putting ketchup on his ear.
Yeah, a lot of people think Big Mike's Michelle.
Yeah, talking about hiding a moon landing and hiding a penis. You're hiding a moon landing and you're hiding a penis. It's like, what a crooked government that does stuff like that. I mean, tell it, your first lady is really a dude. That's just wrong, man. There's like, I mean, I don't know. It just,
Well, they're saying
I
they're
kind of
saying
wish
that
I never knew.
they're saying that the internet doesn't run off of satellites. It runs under cables that runs under the ocean, and those submarine cables, and they found those submarine cables under the ocean in the late 1800s. Like some civilization before us used them for the same purpose, and
That's, yeah, that's,
they've been there the whole time, but we just haven't known about it. But now we're gonna pay for something that's been there for all this time from somebody else.
that's like, have you seen all the, I guess it's TikToks with these buildings that they said they built 2 years before the World's Fair, and then they tore them all down, and they were like these big elaborate buildings with statues and fountains. And they said there's no way you could have built it in 2 years before the World's Fair, and then why the hell would you want to tear it all down? But they were like big buildings that were built, and they say they were there for hundreds of years, and they uncovered them. They were buried, and then they didn't want anybody to know about them, so they destroyed them.
Well, they say that that's the reason why there's no internet cables around the world under the equator, because there are on the upper part, but there's not any on the lower part, because on a flat Earth it would be too far around. It's not far around on this way. But when you get on a flat Earth, it's too far around to go way over there. That's why there's no cables out here, you know.
Well, there's supposed to be tunnels everywhere too, like lots of tunnels, and they've
Oh,
got speed trains in them and everything.
There's like 4 different layers. It's like the layer we live in, and then there's a layer outside the world we live in, and then there's another layer outside the world we live in. It's like there's different, like we're in the middle in this primitive area in here, because it's got to be primitive with all the weirdos in here, and maybe this area out here is for the next dimension, and maybe this area here is out for the
That's
next
what
dimension.
it is. We're chickens in a chicken coop, and all the elites are in the farmhouse.
Yeah, they're out here cruising around. We're still in here with all the idiots.
They got their own little world that you can't fly.
They got us blocked in. They got us blocked in here in the middle.
I don't think
with
it's
all
too
the idiots.
bad. It ain't
I
too
believe
bad,
that.
I'm happy where I'm at. I just don't want to lose what I've got. Make it any worse. Don't be taking my guns away, and my freedoms.
I've had it worse in my life.
Yeah.
I've been married 5 times.
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I just don't, I ain't buying this whole liberal thing with the.
Oh my God.
With all these weirdos that are Satan worshipers, because I don't believe in that Satan worshiping stuff needs to be in politics, and I don't believe it needs to be anywhere. But, they say all of those people were Satan worshipers. And I say that for entertainment purposes.
Well, we're letting women into politics, and look how crazy this shit's getting.
Yeah,
it's out of control. Ever since we started letting women into politics, shit's getting nuts. Insane.
Yeah, it's getting out of control. It looks like we got a new commenter here, The Pit. The first time I ever heard from The Pit. Been watching these podcasts nonstop since I discovered them. I watched the newest ones, then bounce back to the other ones. Well, thanks for watching there. And you gotta, if you're gonna binge watch all of them, it's gonna take a long time, but yeah, that's the way to do it. The new one comes out, listen to that, and then go back. You got we do 3, so you got 4 free days you can watch all the other ones.
Well, they haven't changed much since the first dozen. We didn't know what we were doing then, and I can't see that we know what we're doing now. We just jibber jabber and talk about shit.
But we're giving stuff away.
Talking shit about shit,
We've been giving a lot of stuff away. That's something that we haven't been doing. See, Sunflower says, Miami is a beautiful town. It will be 100 years old in 2029. You shouldn't have any trouble finding a hotel, and congrats on the 200th. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going out there and checking that out, and meeting a lot of people out there and listening to some Lone Star. And I'm about due for a road trip.
Talk about birthdays. Wicker, my dog Wicker, is 6 years old today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, today's July the 26th, and he was born July 26, 2018.
Cool.
And then I got my first Leon on July 27th, 2021, and that's the same day that Leon died. And I was at home, and somebody called me, and then they called me to come and get Leon. But yeah, today's Leon's or Wicker's birthday. Yeah.
Oh man, you gonna make him a cake or something?
Yeah. Yeah, he's 6 today. He's getting old.
Well, you got to add 7 years for every year, so I don't know if I believe that, because my dog lived to be 20. My last dog.
My last Leon was 17. He died.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he died. Matter of fact, he died. God, God, he
That's
he died in September.
that's a pretty good life for a dog, 17.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Cheryl Smith. I think that was the best interview with Gene out of all of them. I could listen to Gene all day because I think he's truthful. Yeah, I tell you what, you want to hear some. If you hang around Gene, there's things Gene tells you that he don't want people to know, and those are some cool stories. Gene gets into some really deep stuff that he don't want you to repeat. Some of that stuff I wish I never heard, but but you got to take the good with the bad. And Larry Tate, who's Dave the Disciple, says it's more fun to live the normal life instead of the rock star life with all that drama. Yeah, it is something to be said for having a. I was watching a thing on John Lennon, and that's one of the reasons he moved to New York. And he could walk around down the streets of New York and nobody bothered him. I mean, there were people that would hang out around where he lived, to get him to sign stuff. But when he was like out in the park or walking on the streets, they say anybody can walk on the streets famous and they don't bother you there. I guess it's such a blend of people. They don't know who you are. But yeah, I agree with that there, Larry. And Craig, Joe Mueller wants to say prayers for your sister. How's your sister doing?
Oh, you know what? I meant to talk about that. I called her today. She's at home. And I goes, man, she said, I just got out of the hospital. And I go, yeah, that's why I'm calling. She goes, yeah, I was in there. And they want to keep me in there. They think I'm crazy.
Well,
And I was talking to my other sister, and they've been telling her that too. And she goes, but I talk to her every day, and she sounds normal to me. She just, my other sister will be 90. Gail, she'll be 90. Joan's about 70. Well, she's got to be 78, I guess, something like that.
but she's got a brain tumor or something.
Well, she's got a lump in her brain. But I don't know. But she was telling me stuff she does, and it sounds like stuff I do.
Maybe it's just a normal Craig thing.
It's just a part of getting old. It's just kind of
Maybe she needs to smoke some weed.
You live alone. I guess you talk to yourself. I don't talk to myself. I talk to my dogs. I guess I talk to myself. I don't know. I call myself Stoop Some Bitch a lot.
Yeah, I talk to myself like if I'm working on something and I do something stupid that makes me have to.
Oh God, yeah.
Like if I'm building something and I have to rip it apart because I did something stupid.
Oh, I'm always telling myself, how did you get so stupid?
Yeah.
Was it the
Like,
drug,
you
the
dumb
alcohol,
son
or were
of a
you just born
bitch?
that way? Or what's your excuse today? And why are you so stupid?
I
God.
was I was watching this guy on Facebook and it was like one of those TikToks or Twitter thing or whatever they call it, and he was trying to put this umbrella in a table as a glass table, and he didn't get it down in that little anchor in the bottom, and it went sideways and busted the table to pieces. And I was thinking that looks just like something I would do. Oh, Jeff says, how did Ed end up in New Jersey buying houses and opening up a computer store when he was originally from California? That's after he quit.
I don't know. I don't know. I know he was. Um, I saw somewhere where he was selling, still playing in the same old places, and it was a little booklet that showed his fingering on how he played songs, and he was still playing in the same places, and it came with a cassette tape, and I still have the booklet, but I loaned the tape and the booklet to a couple of guitar player friends of mine. And I guess when they gave it back, I guess I just misplaced the tape. I can't find the tape or what. I don't know what happened to it, but I still have the booklet and it's signed. And when I sent him the money for it, he actually wrote on it. He wrote on it, "This can't be the same Craig Reed that I know. The Craig Reed that I know would have wrote hi or something, and then he signed it Ed King."
You have that handy where you could show us?
I
Or is
don't
it
know
where
where,
is
you
it
know
or is
what?
it by the
I have
tackle
to
box?
I have to find it. I don't even know where it is. It's one of them things
See?
I've
See,
got.
that's another
I've
one
got
of
so
those.
much stuff, I've
That's
got.
another one of those things that we just by bullshit and then a little story came out and a nice little
I put
artifact.
I put
And
stuff away where I won't lose it, but I forget where
well,
I put it.
but that's a holy grail of a freaking skin formation thing
I've
right
got
there, man.
so much stuff that
I
I
mean,
have
if you
put
could,
away so I wouldn't lose it, and I can't remember where I put it.
yeah, I mean, it's nice to hear about that shit, but we want to see it.
I looked for a CD case today. I found it. It was right over there under a table. There was a CD case I had things with software in it, and the software I wasn't wanted for my computer, where my printer wasn't in there.
Yeah, that's
I
just
need I
like,
needed to be able to find this stuff, that was scanned on my printer.
well, I have about 50 Allen tips for my drill, and I can't find one of them now. They're just, it's just like that kind of stuff. I know I bought a whole can of these Allen tips, and they're all gone now. And I mean, where the hell do they go? I know I'm not losing
I'm
them in the grass or anything. They're just probably in a drawer. There's probably one, in the toolbox in a wrong drawer, and then I leave them places. But
I'm slowly finding the differences between Windows 10 and 11
yeah, I don't think I'm
and
ready
where
to
the
make that
files
jump.
are once you change. And oh God, my computer. Luckily, I got a guy that fixes my stuff.
Here's a question for you, Craig. Jeff wants to know, do you remember the room number at the hotel where you met Skynyrd?
No, I don't. I just
Well, the
remember
next time
I
you go
went. I
by it,
went there. I went there the other day, and it's changed. It's right across from my computer guy. It's right across, and I was
oh
going to
yeah,
take a
that's
picture of it.
weird. We were just
Yeah,
talking about
it's
it.
right it's right off of Gilchrist. It's right off of 77 on Gilchrist, and you take a right, and it's the Plaza Inn. It used to be the Holiday Inn, and then it was the Comfort Inn, whatever. But it's called the Plaza Inn now. But they just changed it, and they're renovating it. So I didn't take a picture of it because it kind of looked. I went inside to the front desk, and from what I remember, the front desk is still in the same place. But I tried to get around the hotel and they had it blocked off with cones, and I didn't feel like going around. I wanted to see if the entrance was still there where I met the guys, and I'll go up and take a picture of it someday, but they had it blocked off both ways.
Yeah, I think he knows where the hotel is, and maybe he
Oh,
wants to
yeah, I
stay
know
in the
what.
room or something.
I
Um,
don't remember
you
what.
you don't remember what room it was? Like if you
No, I
remember,
don't
yeah, that's
remember
something
what room it was.
that's a tough one there. That's a
Yeah, I
tough
can
one
remember
there.
the door where we went in, but I can't remember the room number. It's got to be close to that
How
door.
far is it from your house?
It's a Gilchrist in 76. It's 10, 15 miles
A
maybe.
buddy of mine, he just went up to take a car to a guy, asked him to drive a car up to Ohio, and he said he flew back. I said, "Where did you fly back? What airport?" And he said, "Canton." And I go, "Oh,
Oh
no
yeah,
shit."
cool man.
I
Yeah,
said, "You drove
he was
right by
three
Craig's
miles from
house."
me.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, he drove that road in front of your house goes to the airport,
Yeah, he was three
pretty
miles from me.
much.
That's how far the
Yeah,
airport is.
he went right by your house.
Oh, cool.
So, but you met him, but you wouldn't remember. He's not the other guy, Jay, that got his life saved by the police officer. This is my other buddy, Mark. Got the last question here, and then we'll announce the winner of the pipe. David Selder says, "Congrats on the 200th episode. I've picked up freight in Miami. Just letting everyone know there's casinos nearby there. Yeah, I think I heard that. A friend of mine lives up there, and I think they told me about that. I'll have to ask some more when it gets closer. We'll start talking more about it and let everybody know what's going on and get any updates or anything. But so all right, then we're going to give this pipe away, and then we're going to jump into the Gene Odom uh, episode part number 6. And so, Craig, I know who the winner is, and I know what the name is. But
all right, drum roll, please. I kind of gave it away today on Facebook.
yeah,
I put up a couple of things of Quick Draw McGraw and portraying El Kabong El Kabong with his little sidekick Baba Louie. Come on, Bobby Louie, kabong! The guy that
hit him over the
head. It was Quick Draw McGraw, but it was Quick Draw McGraw. But when he put on the mask, like the Lone Ranger, he turned into El Kabong, and Baba Louie would carry his guitar around for him, and then when he'd see a bad guy, Baba Louie would give him the guitar, and he'd run over and hit the guy over the head with the guitar and go, Kabong! But, I figured that was a good name for.
So there you have it.
Kabong.
And who named it?
Yeah, and let me see, who was Tom Hills. Tom Hills named it, yeah. Kabong.
Tom Hills. You are the daddy, the baby daddy.
But and Tom sending me your address. I don't have your address. And there were a lot of people sending a lot of names, and
there was a lot of great names.
One lady named Susan, she was pretty, but she had some good names, but Liberty and Freedom.
There was a lot of
Freedom Bong. I thought that the Liberty Bong, the Freedom Bong. She had 3 good names. But
I got some more I'm making, so we'll give some more away here. I got it. Craig assigned a bunch of
the Bud Miser. The Bud Miser, I think that would have been the 3rd place winner. Bud Miser.
That is a good one, yeah.
Yeah, Bud Miser.
I like that. Bud Miser.
Griff Roadie Rocket, yeah, the Gym. Bobby Burns. Bud Miser, I think that would have been the 3rd place winner. And if it wouldn't have if Blaze wouldn't have, if that wasn't the name of the place that you were going to take them and sell them at that head shop, Blaze, that's too much of a coincidence.
That was a coincidence. When you said, I've picked a name and I'm going to call it Blaze, and I go, that's kind of weird because the guy that
well, that's why, because you told me the name of the place. She goes, the place's name is Blazing.
Yeah, Blazing.
That's just too much of a coincidence.
It is crazy. Yeah. But there's a lot of coincidences that's happened.
So you'll have to tell people, well, I guess you can just sell them direct instead of telling people where you can get them at the Blazing there in wherever you're at. Wake.
Winter Haven. Yeah,
Winter
if anybody
Haven.
wants a bong, if you're interested in one, send me an email. We'll work something out. But Craig signed them all. So
yeah, I signed like 24 of them. So.
Yeah, these bases, and then I glue the base on, and then I put the leather.
They're good pipes too.
Yeah. It's a great pipe.
They're good pipes. Yeah.
Yeah, they are, and they're pretty sturdy. They don't leak.
I smoked out of both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, you got the other
That's
one
the
still?
one you have is actually the prototype.
Yeah, that's actually the first one.
Yeah, that's one.
That's
I said, well, Griff, it leaks. And you said, well, just keep that one and I'll make another one. And I said, well,
yeah.
no, I'll send it back to you and you can fix it, you know?
Yeah, and I did. I took it all
Yeah.
apart. I
So,
removed that stem off of there, and then
so
this
that's
has got
actually the first one. That's actually the prototype.
it's been smoked out of, so it's got Craig been smoking out of that, so
And
that's
that leather piece got wet a couple times.
yeah,
But
and it looks fine. It looks like
yeah.
it's got
But
Roadie
you
stamped
did a
in
good
it right
job
there.
on the decals that Disciple Dave sent. You
Yeah,
know?
he's sending me some more. He's sending me
Yeah,
some
send
more.
me some too, Dave. I need to give that
Put
guy
them on
some
that bong.
for the
Yeah,
other bong. Yeah,
yeah, because it does help.
yeah,
And
yeah. They look good. Yeah,
and
he was
Dave
one.
drew that picture
He was,
of Craig, and that's it.
I like the top sticker, the Lynyrd Skynyrd sticker, and and then
There's the
another,
band, and then sorry we're stoned.
yeah, I like that one too. And
Is
yeah,
that the
cool
ones you want?
stickers.
You want him to send the same ones?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, send the same ones you sending me, Dave, to Craig, and we appreciate that. Dave, man, he's a great guy.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
He's always helping us
Yeah.
out.
Oh, and by the way, we had a before I
Yeah, you had a
forget.
donation, didn't you?
Yeah, before I forget, I got brain damage, so if ever I forget, if you ever somebody sends in a donation, I don't mention it. Say, hey, stupid, I sent you a donation, 'cause
Well, you usually remember it
well,
eventually.
I make as soon as I get money because I know I'm stupid. I make these little things here. And Billy Luttrell. Matter of fact, I think on the template I had, I had Billy Latress instead of Rell. I had RESS, and then I looked on the envelope, and I said RELL, and I think the last time I mentioned your name, I had RESS. I'm sorry about that.
That was some indica, Billy, is what that
Yeah,
was.
but I'm sorry about that. So we'll make up for it. But yeah, he sent $50 for Leslie, and yeah,
Cool.
we're still getting a little bit of money for people. We said it. I should have. I got a mouse in my pocket when I say we. I should have sent this stuff out a long time ago, but I got a lot of excuses. That's why I didn't do it. But yeah, he sent in $100 so far, bro. Thank you, Billy, for that $50 for
Yeah, thank you,
Leslie.
Billy. That was awfully nice of you, man.
And
Appreciate it.
we'll make
And
sure Leslie gets that.
yeah, and she'll know everybody who donated to her. So
And yeah, Dave the Disciple, I had seen that card today where you sent you sent all that stuff for me to send to Paul. Sent me and then paid for the shipping too, and I still have all that together. So he sent $200 to give to Paul, and yeah, we'll send all that out
cool.
to him at the same time. I'm all backed up here, I'm like constipated.
Well, I'm gonna get this right. I just need the address. Is he gonna send you the
Yeah, yeah,
address?
yeah. He's got to send me the address. Yeah, send me
Yeah.
the address. We'll
So
get you
Tom
that out.
Hills, we need your address, and you could send it to me too if you want. I'll put a link up here or my email if you want to send it to me. But you can send it straight to me too, or send it to Craig just to be sure. So with that, we'll go ahead and is that all the donations, Craig?
Yeah, yeah.
We'll
That's
just
all we had.
we'll go
We just
ahead and
throw out a special guest to our sponsor, Parsons Land Clearing and Services.
yeah,
Those guys were
did a
pretty
great
cool.
job. Great
Yeah, they did a
job.
good job. We ain't had any rain, so um, It's starting to look like a pond, but it's got to fill up with water. There ain't no water coming down through there yet, but yeah, he did a good job. So, anyways, yeah. So, all right. I guess that's us. We're out of here. I guess
Yeah, we're out of here. We're out of here.
Is that the cue?
That's the cue.
All right. All right. Here we go. Oh, there it is over there. Okay, here. Okay, now I won't. That was the Stone Roadie show number 201, and Wake and Bake number 80, and happy trails to you until we meet again, and see you later, alligator, at the Wild Crocodile, and we're out of here. Cut.
Yep.
Okay, well, speaking of Larry Junstrom, he's up next. So let's talk about Larry Junstrom.
Okay, well, Larry was original with Gary and Bob Burns when they were rehearsing in Bob Burns' garage. Now, Larry was an electronic genius, and he was kind of like a nerd. He had his way and nerdish, and he didn't. None of that heavy drug use, none of that drug, no alcohol, none of that crazy.
Didn't he go to college?
I think he did go to college.
Yeah.
He was an electronic genius. And so he didn't like Roadies. He was like Ed King. Him and Ed King, Larry Johnson and Ed King, were about the same kind of mindset. One from Florida, one from California. But he didn't like Ronnie's rough and rowdy ways. So when Donnie and
Johnny?
No, Donnie, Jeff Carlisi, and Don Barnes.
Oh, okay,
decided to
38
put 38
Special,
Special
yeah.
together. Larry went over there to be their bass player because those guys, none of those guys in 38 Special had the Ronnie Van Zant-ism of Ronnie's style. The other guys didn't have it. They were different than Ronnie. Jack Grondin, Jeff Carlisi, Don Barnes, Donnie Van Zant, they were different than Ronnie. And so Larry went over there, became the bass player for 38 Special. And here's one for you. All of the early stuff Larry worked on, Lynyrd Skynyrd's early stuff that Larry worked on, Gary Rosington never gave him any credit.
No.
Never gave Larry Johnson the credit for the original stuff he worked on. I went, what? Oh yeah, Larry told me that.
Well, I know Gary resented Ed King writing the parts that he wrote for Sweet Home Alabama because, you know, Sharon's told me that he held a resentment for
Oh, he
that.
did.
So.
He didn't like the fact that Ed King wrote that. And Gary tried to take credit for writing that.
Yeah.
Writing that punchline. I mean, what do you call it? That lick.
Yeah, and Ed gave Gary the credit for, you know, starting the song, and then Ed added to it, which was the most important parts. And then, of course, Ronnie's, you know, vocals.
Let me tell you something else about that, too. Also, Gary resented the fact that his biggest success, he didn't write it. Freebird. The music for Sweet Home Alabama was written by somebody else. And Gary felt, you know, I should be this.
So some of the biggest songs didn't belong to Gary.
Right.
Then.
Yeah, and Gary resented that. Just like he resented the fact that Ronnie Van Zant come in his band and took it over. And you can look at, on another hand, it went from nothing to something very special. That's life. I can't think. The band of Ronnie, Alan, Steve, Gary, Billy, Ed King, Gary Rosington, they've left music history that still today is one of the most requested songs. Freebird, I mean, Sweet Home Alabama just passed over 1 billion downloads. That means that Freebird and the other songs are in billions and billions of downloads. You add them up. Who wouldn't? And old Skynyrd music, their music still sells a couple million copies a year. The Beatles And Elvis Presley's the only other ones that do something like that. Skynyrd left a tremendous legacy that Gary Rosington resented the fact that it wasn't his legacy.
And everybody knows Sweet Home Alabama. I just talked to a 103-year-old lady who, I said, you know who Lynyrd Skynyrd is? No. I said, well, how about Sweet Home Alabama? Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
So they might not know the name,
They
but
might not know the name, but
they know the music.
You know?
All right, let's run.
That's a hell of a legacy to know that
Yeah,
you're part of a band. How many bands wouldn't like to sell just 1 million records?
Oh, I know. Yeah, well, it's no dispute that
28,
Lynyrd
30, 40
Skynyrd.
million records. I don't know how many they've sold over
Yeah.
a lifetime, but it's probably even a 50 million albums plus
Exactly.
billion downloads. You know.
Okay, let's move into, we got Alan Collins and then Ronnie. Let's do Alan now.
Alan Collins' problem was he made a lot of money, and money will get you out of situations. And I blame a lot of his stuff on me because it was 1975. I don't remember what month or day or anything like that, but I know it was 75. That's when they started making pretty good money.
75? Yeah.
And they could pay their bills, pay their rent and everything, you know, and they were making some good money. That's when I started clearing Alan's lot to build his house on, out on Jordan Creek Road extension. So, what were we talking about?
We were talking about Alan Collins.
Oh.
Yeah, and you said 75 was when they, and
Yeah.
his problem was he had too much money.
Not at that time, but yes, but not at that time. Ronnie came to me, and Alan he'd already lost his driver's license for life in 1975. Drunk, DUI, wrecking the cars, nothing, no driver's license, and so Ronnie came to me, and he was looking at 10 days in jail when he went to court, which was coming up real quick. So Ronnie came to me and said, hey Gene, man, look here, Alan's going to jail for 10 days. If he goes to jail for 10 days, we're going to lose his tour. And we need the money. Can you help us? Can you help him? Can go through the union and with your contacts, and with your people? I said, you may make a phone call, yeah. So I made a phone call and said, yeah, $1,500, we'll take care of it. So I told him, I said, he's all right, come get the money. So, like I said, I was a union, iron worker, union member. Back then, unions were pretty strong. Some places they still are. And so, but bottom line about this conversation is money, cash money. If you know the right people, they can get stuff done. The right lawyer, he knows the right judge. And so the union had a lot to do with it. And so I took him $1,500 and they took care of it. So Alan didn't have to go to jail. The band could take off and go on the road. So this went on. Something else, no driver's license, wreck, speeding, no driver's license, whatever. Hey Gene, man, look here. Alan, yeah, okay, take it. All right. 1,500, 2,500, 3,000 on the way up.
So money was getting him out of trouble.
Cash money was getting him out of trouble. And the last payment that he had to pay to keep out was $25,000 cash. But let's just say the business agent's son decided that, hey Gene, I'll take care of all this. You don't need to be the middleman. I'll deal with Ronnie, and I'll take, because he was a cokehead and he liked to hang out with Skynyrd, and so he just take me. I just didn't become the middleman anymore. The business agent's son took care of everything. So it come to the point that it was every week was going, and so all of these situations were misdemeanors. If you know anything about misdemeanors and cash money, lawyers, judges, cash money talks. A lot of cash money really talks. So, like I told you, it was $25,000. That was the last one. And so then he calls me, the lawyer, which was also the lawyer for the police union. He called me up on the phone, said, Gene, man, look here, you gotta go out there and talk to Alan. He has to go to jail for 10 days. He has to go to take the pressure off of us. And you know who us are. Yeah. He says, so go talk to him. You can do this. And I know you can, and he'll understand. So I go out and talk to him. I say, hey man, look here. You're putting too much pressure on these people. I said, so the pressure has to be released. So Ken has worked out that you can go to jail for 10 days on the weekends, and you can wash police cars. You come to jail Friday night, wash police cars Saturday and Sunday, go home, come back Friday night, wash police cars Saturday and Sunday, and you do this for a combination of 10 days on the weekends, and then your record will be clean, and it'll take the pressure off of all of us people. And so he said, I said, yeah, you need to do this, because these people that you're dealing with, you don't want to deal with them in other ways. All right, I'm going to take your word. No, sir. He said, okay, I'm going to do it, man. So he did. He goes to jail on the weekends, watch police cars.
Here's a guy who played all these songs, Free Bird, and he's washing police cars.
He's washing police cars in there. And in there is where he met the girl that he killed in the car wreck.
Oh, yeah.
She was in jail. And he told her when she got out, he was going to get out. And then after she got out for a while, I don't know how long it was, he told her to move in with him, and she could help take care of his daughters, and he'd take care of her. And that's the one that got killed in the car wreck.
Yeah, and I think we know what happened after that, pretty much. Yeah.
But see, that one wasn't a misdemeanor. That couldn't be just washed under the rug for a $150 fine.
Yeah.
That was going to put him in the penitentiary for 15 years. He was sentenced to 15 years. But Ken worked out a deal that as long as he was paralyzed in a wheelchair, he wouldn't have to go to prison. And so as long as he stayed in a wheelchair, he wouldn't have to go to prison for 15. He was sentenced to 15 years. And so, you know, he was in the wheelchair. And I'm not going to get into...
Right. Yeah, there's a little bit more to that than
Yeah,
I
I don't
know.
want to get into that. And but his whole life was like that, you know.
Yeah.
And the money, you know. And believe me, if you know the right people, and the charges can be worked with, cash money will, if you know the right people, and especially in every port city, every big port city, back then, and you know, you can get stuff done. And so I take a little bit of blame for, you know.
You kind of helped him get out of trouble a lot.
Oh,
and then maybe, well, I don't think you can blame yourself for that, Gene. You know, getting somebody out of trouble don't mean that you can go get in trouble again, you know.
Yeah, what do, here you go. When it got to $5,000, we was on the road. And so, Ronnie said, hey Gene, call your buddy and see what it's going to take. And I called him, he said, 5,000. It's okay. This is what broke up the law firm. So 5,000, and Ronnie said, tell him to go by Alan's house and pick the money up Kathy has the money. So this guy goes by and picks up the $5,000. He don't take it to the lawyer and the law firm. He jumps on a plane and hauls ass to Las Vegas, gets coked out and blows the money. Now Alan Collins has done paid the money, but the money never got to the lawyer, meaning the money never got to the judge. So the lawyer had to go ahead and take care of business because the money had been paid. So the lawyer took care of everything. But that ended the lawyer and the law firm. The lawyer didn't need to be with that law firm no more because he was the one doing all the stuff. He was the one getting stuff done. He was the man. So he started his own law firm and then became Alan's personal attorney. So after that, he didn't have to go through the
Firm.
Right. And go through that process. He handled it himself, you know. And Alan paid a lot of money. A lot of money for his, I don't know what's the right word, for his shenanigans.
Yeah.
Shenanigans, you know. No driver's license and all that, wrecking them cars and stuff, you know.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep token until then.